Hi, my name's Kaylee Gibson. I was wondering if I could have a moment to talk to you about our mental health parity legislation that is currently in place and possible amendment. Thank you. Just a little background, I'm really passionate about mental health and all things parity related about mental health being treated just like any other physical ailment. I had an issue at work once where I was told, how are you going to be a nurse with ADHD? And that really stuck with me because I feel like it should just be, how are you going to be a nurse? It doesn't matter with what. And I think that where we can start with ending the stigma of mental illness being such a setback, it should just be treated as any other physical illness. It shouldn't be even a thought that that is a setback. And I think that this can start with our legislation in terms of insurance covering it, mental illnesses as any other physical ailment. And right now we have a mental health parity legislation. It is Title 67, Chapter 57, Section 67-5761A. And currently it's stating that state employees and their spouses with serious mental illnesses must not be discriminated against in group health care service coverages. So they cannot be more restrictive than, and it must be consistent in cost with other major illnesses. So this is pretty vague because it doesn't define other major illnesses, and only the serious mental illnesses are covered. Whereas I feel like we should amend that phrasing to include any mental disorder as defined by the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, and then we can go on to list all the categories of mental disorders as listed in this book. And it's really important to use factual research, I think, and have like an ongoing factual basis behind our legislature that can be updated along with as the new books come out. Right now there's a lot of states that are failing to follow and enforce mental health parity acts, such as the 2008 Mental Health Parity and Addiction Equity Act. So what we can do to enforce this is have insurers submit annual reports that demonstrate compliance efforts with parity. And we can also have little sections that we add and amend in the legislation about procedures for out-of-network providers and defining medically necessary services for mental health treatment, and the address limitations on the number of outpatient visits or inpatient treatment days. All these things can be addressed, and I think that this is a very important amendment that we can include because in states that do have stronger mental health parity laws with these kinds of amendments, there's been an increase in access to healthcare because people have been worried about costs of getting mental health care help, and there's been more and more improvement in people's diagnoses, lower suicide rates, and just more coverage and help for all the people because they're less worried about these costs and coverage. And it actually isn't costing much more to even enact these. And I can give you my papers here with all the research on it if you'd be interested. And yeah, and you're here to support with me. Thank you. Yeah, here's my papers, and I'll give you my information so that we can schedule a follow-up meeting. Thank you.